Hi, my name is Sira Boats. I'm an occupational therapist, dementia specialist, and also a daughter of dementia. I am the founder and owner of Boats Memory Method, where we provide you hope on the dementia journey. And today we're going to talk about something very important, and that is how to effectively communicate with your person living with dementia. In my experience, I have found that this is a very sensitive topic. I've also found that if we do this right, that we can have a great relationship and a great connection with our person. But it does take some intentionality. It takes for us to slow down, and it takes for us to understand where our person is at on this dementia journey. Let's look at the Boats Memory Method flower levels. So I have here with me the 5 flower levels that talks about the different dementia journeys. So the lily is beginning, neurocognitive decline, so mild cognitive impairment is the close diagnosis. The daisy is mild neurocognitive decline or mild dementia. The violet is moderate neurocognitive decline or moderate dementia. The rose is severe neurocognitive decline or severe dementia. And then the bouquet level is advanced neurocognitive decline or advanced dementia. Why is this important? Each of these flower levels represent a different part of the journey. And on each of these flower levels, we need to change how we present information to our person. How do we communicate with our person, and what should our expectations be during communication? So on the lily level, this person can receive information and respond to information in a very normal way. You may not even pick up on the fact that this person is living with beginning neurocognitive decline unless you know this person well, unless you can fact check what they're telling you. So on the lily level, it's very important to talk to this person in a normal fashion. Do not patronize them. Do not talk down to them. But be aware that some of the information, especially if it's important information, may need to be fact checked. Be aware that if you're sharing very important information with this person, that you may want to follow up with simple bullet points for this person to remember. Also, do not put that bullet points or important information in a drawer. You want to put it in a place where this person can retrieve it easily and go back to it. And then you want to follow up, especially if you're educating this person on a medical condition, or maybe giving them important financial information. Maybe it's about how to maintain their home. So you want to make sure that you follow up with that information, make sure this person understood and they don't have any further questions. When we get to the daisy journey, it may be visible to you that this person may have repeated questions within the conversation, or they may repeat themselves. This person will, in the moment, understand the message that you're delivering to them, but they may not remember the content. Again, we don't want to patronize this person. Don't want to talk down to them. We want to have a normal conversation, but we have to be cognizant that this person is not going to remember the content of this conversation. So it's very important at the daisy level, if we're having an important conversation, a medical conversation, a finance conversation, a very important decision-making conversation, that either a family member, a power of attorney, or another person is included during that conversation, and that we're making some notes. Also, if it's appropriate, maybe even videotape the conversation so that your person on the daisy journey can look back at it and be reminded of the content. This person will definitely benefit from some simple bullet points about this discussion. This person will really benefit from you leaving behind visual cues or reminders, maybe a calendar note that this meeting had taken place, that you were there, something for them to look back at and jog their memory. Again, you cannot expect that this person is going to follow through with important information. They're going to need assistance to implement whatever important discussion was had on that day. When you get to the violet journey, you know that this person is living with severe memory loss, short-term memory loss, that they may not be oriented completely to day, time, to place, or to person. They may recognize you for how you made them feel, but they may not remember your name. So it's very important when we get to the violet level that you have a face-to-face conversation with this person, that you introduce yourself, reintroduce yourself every time that you have a conversation, that you allow this person time to process you being there. Also, it's a good idea to put your hand out for a handshake to make that human connection, which allows this person to be anchored in the here and now. So for a violet, keep in mind that this person's visuospatial ability may be changing. So where we at the Lily and a Daisy and the rest of us may be able to have full visual perception, when we get to the violet level, this visual span may be limited to that of a big plate or a large beach ball, and we have to approach that person within this visual cone and make sure that they make eye contact with us before we deliver any type of verbal information. They may benefit from a demonstration. For example, I may say, Miss Betty, I am here to take you to the hair salon, and I may point to the calendar and say, this is what your appointment says. It's Thursday today and it's time for your hair appointment. So slow down, simple delivery of verbal instructions or verbal information. Introduce yourself at face level. Touch that person after they see you and give them plenty of time to process and to respond to you. When we get to the rose level, the same is true. Your rose is at the severe, on that journey of severe neurocognitive decline. At the rose level, this person's memory is very impaired and their orientation is also very impaired. They may be oriented to themselves, maybe to where they're at, but not to time, not to other people. They may have a very hard time to recognize who you are. They may even have a very hard time to recognize their own family. So again, for this person, their visual cone is now close to that of a diving mask. So we want to make sure that we approach that person within their visual cone. Make sure they see you before you start talking to them. Make sure you have a simple delivery of information. Introduce yourself first. It's very important to know if this person responds to Jimmy or to Baba or to Dr. Brown. Make sure that you know how this person identify themselves as. For example, I may never be Mrs. Boats. I've never been in an environment where I was called Mrs. Boats. If I should be placed in a memory care facility and be called Mrs. Boats, I may not respond to that. So you need to know what I would respond to best, and that would be Sira. So the same are true for our persons living with dementia as they're walking this journey. For a person living as a rose, we need to keep our interactions very simple, very concrete, in the here and now. For both the violet and the rose, do not ask them, do you remember? Rather say, rather talk about what is happening in the here and now, because they're not going to remember what happened even at breakfast or what happened yesterday. For a violet and a rose, they can no longer read complicated directions. They might not even able to respond to simple written directions because of the decline of the temporal lobe and the frontal lobe, and the processing ability has declined. So you can expect of that person to respond and interact in the moment with your assistance and with your guidance. But when you walk away, that is the end of that conversation, and you cannot expect that there will be any memory or follow through of whatever you discussed in that moment. When we get to the advanced stage of our persons living with dementia, on that dementia journey, at the bouquet level of the journey, this person may or may not open their eyes. They may or may not respond to their own name. They will not remember interactions and people, and they are not oriented to place or time. They will have a very difficult time to initiate any type of conversation. They will even have a very difficult time to initiate motor responses like getting out of bed or changing positions or getting out of a chair. This person is dependent on us to deliver information in a way that connects with them in the here and now. For example, if I am moving this person in bed, I want to be telling them, I'm going to move your arm. I'm going to roll you over. I am now going to rub your back with lotion. So including that person and what's happening in the here and now with simple, patient, and loving instructions. And then also reading to this person, reading out loud, books on tape, music. Our person at the advanced stages can still respond to sensory stimulation. And we need to make sure that however we deliver any message in their environment is done with a lot of tender, loving care. I hope that these tips for communication with your person on the dementia journey made sense, and that it helped you to understand how to enter into their here and now, how to connect them to the here and now, and how to preserve their autonomy so that they feel included and appreciated. Thank you for joining us today. Please be sure to follow us on our website, boatsmemorymethod.com, where you can find blogs, you can find learning opportunities under our Dementia Learning Center, and a newsletter, as well as a bouquet marketplace with a selection of dementia-friendly products. We hope to see you soon.